Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Lazer Grand Arena. Had a couple hours break between AKNZX and Kosharek, and now we move on to another match here in the round of 16, week 1 of this tournament, bringing us 2 rounds of the bracket stage, this time with Flying Tuna versus Serbia Trucker 13. I'm Dio. I'm joined once again by T1G. How's it going, man? Good morning.
Hey man, good morning, man. Long time no see, man. It just feels like we're back at Roundtable or something, casting every match together all weekend. It's great. I'm glad to be here. But for real, I mean, I'm excited for this one. Round of 16 hopefully means we get some competitive matches between some players who looked really good in their first round. Tuna and Serbia Trucker both looked really strong in their round of 32 matches, respectively, defeating Synchromic and Rudge. So hoping to see some high-level gameplay here in a super competitive affair, because for all the matches that we've commentated together so far this week, I think we've only seen 3-0s. So would like to, maybe we get a TB set, right? Something cool.
Yeah, I'd be pretty happy with that. Though that said, Flying Tuna, last year's LGA champion, Serbia Trucker this year, seed number 13 versus seed number 4. So definitely the odds stacked a little bit against him in this matchup. That said, both of these players, I think, more than capable on a pool of this difficulty of putting up some very, very good scores. And potentially, after already having a first match to kind of feel out the pool, feel out the strategy, might do very well in this match. Kind of expecting Tuna to lean into the hiddens in this match. That's kind of the one weakness for Serbia Trucker 13. Everything else, I think both of them are going to be just fine on. Obviously, you're expecting Tuna to lean more into hidden breeding tech in general. Runny Sunny, Serbia Trucker 13, more into the hard rock and particularly aim. And yeah, there's the hidden 2 ban there for Serbia Trucker.
Yeah, and it's both players actually opening up with the same first ban as they opened up with yesterday. Serbia Trucker also banning out Hidden 2 there against Rudge. Tuna also banning out Hard Rock 2 in his first match. So I guess they were, content with getting rid of the maps that they got rid of in those matches. Serbia Trucker, again, is going to protect the laser mod pick, so that's going to be flat by second with freeze frame. Interestingly enough, both of these players protected that in their first set. So curious to see how that one goes. It was the first pick for both of them as well. So curious to see what happens with that particular map. We've kind of seen it on and off. Some players who are really good at it, and sometimes you see it as a throwaway pick in the strategy that we've kind of discussed at length in previous matches, where it can be like it could be a throwaway. So we'll see how it goes for these two here. Interesting Nomad 2 protect there from Tuna. We actually saw Serbia Trucker picking that. But that's something that Tuna's good at as well, so it's not like it's a ban style protect, right? The strategies of this are fascinating, but I do think that might be a map they end up playing.
Well, I think both of these protects are going to be maps that both of them end up playing, honestly. I think we'll probably end up seeing these throughout the match. Hard Rock 1 also banned out by Tuna now. Again, Running Sunny, a very, very good Hard Rock player, so not surprising whatsoever we see the Hard Rock 2, Hard Rock 1 bans from Flying Tuna, especially Hard Rock 3, the most kind of Tuna-favored Hard Rock map out of that pool. And now we get one of the more Tuna-favored Nomad maps, Unfolding by Sven Noon, mapped by Bob. It's rhythm alt, kind of. It's more like rhythm flow with some finger control, and it's at 180 BPM, but it looks like alt patterning, just like less spaced out. With some weird sliders as well. It's tons of aim control. It's a little finger control. It's just a little weird, and the kind of flow aim that you are required to have for this map is extremely gimmicky. Reading these sorts of patterns can be really off because none of them flow in super expected ways, and Flying Tuna tends to be really, really good at this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're flying Tuna in a lot of these matchups, this type of map is going to suit your eye very well. Just a type of map that he's super comfortable with in a way that, a decent chunk of the player population is not going to be. And you can see that already coming into effect here as Serbia Trucker finding a couple breaks early on, down 2.5% on the accuracy as well. Meanwhile, Tuna off to the races here in the first map of the match. This is exactly how you'd want to start it off, halfway through holding the 98 AC full combo. Finally, his first break, I think a little over-aim on that slider, but not going to matter to the scoreline all that much. Still over 100K lead. And, having the first pick in these sets, we discussed this a lot, can be very, very valuable. If you pick something that you're super comfortable with and your opponent is not, you can build up a massive lead, and you can force them to adjust their pick strategy early on, because all of a sudden they probably can't pick a map that they might have wanted to because the deficit is going to be too big. And Tuna just having a grand old time here. 130K scorer lead, massive for him on the first pick of the match. Getting off to a fast start is what you like to see out of anybody. And here you're going to see some momentum going Tuna's way early on.
So this lead is coming down a little bit. I don't think it's uncomebackable in this set for Serbia Trucker, right? That's not really a word, but you know what I mean. It's still a winnable set for Serbia Trucker. I agree that's a good lead for Tuna though, right? I mean, 130K almost is pretty sizable on Lazer scoring, so that's not going to be a super easy set to win for Serbia Trucker. But I don't think it's anything that would make you want to throw away a pick and pick into like Hidden 3, for example, right? But yeah, in this case, going to be going for DT3 for Serbia Trucker, and I think I like this pick. Flying Tuna, very solid on DT aim, obviously, has a ton of really, really good DT aim scores. Similarly, also pretty good at your just high BPM DT burst maps like what we see in the DT2. This DT3 instead is more just pure DT speed stamina, and that is the part of speed that Flying Tuna struggles with the most. It's kind of the one aspect of tournament speed that he is not particularly good at this point. So I like this as a counter pick from Serbia Trucker. We'll see if he can generate 130K off of this map, though. It's probably going to require close to an FC, because I think both of these players are going to be good enough at this map to play it decently well. It's just a question of how long can you hold the combo, how high can you keep the accuracy through some of the longer stream sections in this map. And right now the accuracy favoring Flying Tuna out of the gates, but both players still on the full combo.
And we've seen this kind of happen a few times when this map has been played in the past, where both guys will be comfortable with it for, the first half, 2/3, even 3/4 of the map. But there are the longer streams that start to come in at the ending, and that can really throw the balance of one way or the other. If somebody runs out of some stamina into that ending, we've seen gaps of 80 to 90,000 points open up in just the last 15 to 30 seconds of the map. And unfortunately, It's going to be the break from Serbia Trucker. So falling on his own pick here, while Tuna continuing to hold on, continuing on that 99.5 AC. So perhaps rumors of his lack of comfort on this skill set may have been unfounded, and it's going to be Tuna building up a 90K lead heading into the last portion of the map. This is a very challenging section, but it's another break from Serbia Trucker, and with that, I think the comeback is just not going to be in the cards here for the German player. It's going to be Flying Tuna running with this one into the ending. Will he pull off the FC? No, it's a miss-aim! Oh my god, he over-aims the circle after the little burst, and it will not be the full combo for Tuna, but it's still going to be a 258K score lead on the map, a 385K score lead on the set, and just like that, a quick 1-0 lead for Flying Tuna.
So I have a question for you now, Aaron. After watching Flying Tuna, 99.2%, one miss on a random jump on this map, what do you pick against Flying Tuna now? If he can also play speed stamina, I mean, that's 240 BPM long stream stamina, right? Consecutive bursts all over the place, long stream stamina. What do you pick against him now? Because he's strong on hidden. He's very strong on hidden. He's good at the stream tech and no mod. He's obviously a very good aim player. He's a very good reading player as well, right? Flat by second, yes, is your protect, but is probably also a good map for Flying Tuna at the same time. Even this Hard Rock 3, I think, is still pretty solid for Flying Tuna. It's a more alt-focused, kind of snap aim control focused pick. Are there any good picks into Flying Tuna? It feels like there's zero weaknesses now to pick into Flying Tuna, and you just have to pick your strengths now as Serbia Trucker. Like, I don't think there's any realistically good picks on paper. You just pick what you're comfortable on.
Yeah, no, I agree there. I think that's kind of how it goes in these matchups against top seeds. I don't think you can approach these matches trying to come up with their weakness. You are just picking the map that you are most capable of putting up the best score on, and hope that it's good enough. You know, instead of saying, well, I think he might only get 500k on this map, just think, I will get 800k on this map. And if this is what that choice might lead you to, then more power to you, because it really, you're not picking against your opponent, you're picking for yourself. I think that's the only way to do it. And it's starting off well enough for Serbia Truckers. You saw Tuna had some trouble there at the intro, the act dropping way down, the early break as well. It is going to be the miss for Trucker, though, so it's going to slow down that lead. It's going to be falling back the way of Tuna as he builds the accuracy back up, builds the combo back up. And we'll see how long he can hold. We'll see what kind of recovery can come from Serbia Trucker. But again, Tuna, even on his opponent's picks, just does his thing, because he's good at pretty much every skill set there is. And even if he breaks early on, he's not going to be bothered by it. He's just going to lock right back in and build up nearly a 500 combo, and going to take a lead here if he continues to hold just a little bit longer.
I also want to just shout out real quick the player development that has occurred for Flying Tuna, even while remaining kind of at the top echelon of tournament players for a very long time. I know this is kind of off topic for this match in particular, but there was a very long time where if you picked that DT3 into Flying Tuna, it was an auto win. And now he is close to FCing it in match. And South Korea has already won OWC, and their players are still getting better. I don't know what to say. Yeah, he's seen some improvement and becoming more of an all-rounder. That said, does find a couple of misses here. Serbia Trucker now with combo lead, with score lead on this map. And not necessarily from a bad score from Flying Tuna, but a good score from himself, as again, that's kind of what you need to do against an all-rounder top seed player, right? You just need to pick the map that you are very good on and hope that that is enough. And in this case, it is going to be enough for some score lead. I don't know if we're quite going to see 100k here. Just only 5 seconds left in the map, but about 75k here for Serbia Trucker. Up to 85k almost with a miss right at the end for Flying Tuna. Very good score for Serbia Trucker. Almost 860k on that map. Just the one miss. So very solid run for him on this Hard Rock 3. That said, it's not that big of a score lead, right? Flying Tuna, I think, should still be able to claw back that kind of a lead, especially with a pick like either the Hidden 1 or the Nomad 2. I think both of those are very, very strong picks for Flying Tuna, with this kind of a score lead being the one to beat right now. And instead, it's going to be the Hidden 3, but I think realistically, any of the Hiddens will be just fine for him.
Yeah, I was thinking it might be the Hidden 3. He did seem to like that one as an option. I'm trying to remember, I'm trying to remember if he played that in his first match. I'd have to bring it back up. I'm not sure offhand. But this I think is just a good Tuna pick in this map pool regardless, especially against Serbia Trucker. I wanted to go back a quick second. I thought it was funny. Serbia Trucker, we were talking about the previous map. I was like, well, you picked a map that you can get 800k on, and he proceeds to get 858k on it. So I guess that prediction ended up coming a little bit true. I'm still like shocked that ended up being an 83k gap, because that feels like more score in favor of Serbia Trucker than I kind of would have expected on that. So I want to give the shout out there on him achieving, a decent sized lead coming into this pick. He did say in chat, watch him FC this about Tuna on the Hidden 3 here. So something to look out for is Tuna putting up a crazy score on this map, but we will have to see how it goes. I'm a big fan of this Hidden 3. I've been shouting it from the rooftops over the last couple days now. Really enjoy watching this one. It is just like a perfectly conceptualized map in so many ways for me in this slot. where you kind of like the flow aim hidden 3 with all that aim control, and both these players having a great time with it, almost to the 1/3 and past mark already. It's a double FC, and both guys looking comfortable. I mean, the accuracy is staying pretty high for both as well, so it's not like they're, you know, faking these FCs. This is like real comfort. And there's a break from Tuna, and that might just be the set to Serbia Trucker right there. We're already halfway through, still holding on to the FC, and now he's going to have a little bit of a score lead to play with of his own. Does find the miss, but trying to bring back 83k with really not much combo lead to speak of for Tuna is going to be a challenge here with only half the map left.
Yeah, it definitely is. The accuracy lead is not big enough to give that kind of a score lead right now. You'd have to hope for maybe a chain miss on the stream section later on, but with Note Lock not really existing on Lazer, it's a lot less likely for those chain misses to come through. This is that stream section I was talking about, and actually both players hitting it pretty much easily, but there goes another miss right afterwards for Serbia Trucker. It's matched there by Flying Tuna with a slider break, it looked like, on some of the hold sliders, the long hold sliders right afterwards, but more misses come through for Serbia Trucker. You have to just hold on for 20 seconds, man, and you will get the set. Just hold on to whatever combo you have right now for 10, 15 more seconds. 70k for Flying Tuna. The combo lead is not that big, but we're under 10k away from it being a win for Flying Tuna on the set. There's 4 seconds left on the clock. Stop the count. No, Flying Tuna does find the miss. And there it is. Serbia Trucker taking the set by just about 15,000 points. Almost losing out there at the end, if not for just barely holding enough right at the end of the map, and an extra miss for Flying Tuna to give a little comfort. Otherwise, we would have been probably within 5k, if not slightly favored to Flying Tuna there at the end. So that was very, very tough for Serbia Trucker at the end there, but does manage to get the set win.
Yeah, that's well done, and that's really taking advantage of the first pick again. He built up a big enough lead on the Hard Rock 3 with that 858k score that even with Tuna winning the second pick by a decent margin, it was not enough to bring it back. And that is kind of how it feels like it goes in these. I'd have to look through to see how often the player who wins the first map of each 2-map set wins that set, because it feels to me like it's a pretty big advantage. But I that's just a feeling. That being said, that first pick now in the third set is going to go over to Flying Tuna. He does have, the other hidden that's available, Hidden 1, does have the Nomad 2 with all the tech streams going on as well. And of course, the Lazer mod pick is there. That was protected. That was a Serbia Trucker protect, I believe. So won't be seeing that from Tuna here, but could see it as a second pick in this set or first pick in the next set. And it is going to be Tuna opting into that Nomad 2 here. I don't think that's much of a surprise. The tech stream pick, he is rank 1 on this map with the one and only Hidden Hard Rock FC on it, which is a not unimpressive play in its own right. Lots of difficult cut streams, lots of difficult aim control streams in this one. And of course, Dio, you are very familiar with this as you commissioned the song and the custom map for this for Perennial last year.
Yep. Original song from Perennial last year. I'm very happy to see any original songs from Perennial in particular, but also any tournament that I help out with original songs for getting used outside of that. So shout outs to the pooling team for using this here. It's awesome to see these get used outside of their original tournament. I hope more people continue to use them in other places, even if it's, not the tournament diff like this one, but there's a lot of lower diffs on this set too. This is ranked, so very happy to see this here as we get into things for Flying Tuna and Runny Sunny, Serbia Trucker 13. As you said, Aaron, lots of cut streams, lots of aim control on the streams. 190 BPM, so there's a little bit of a stamina requirement, but it's nothing these players are going to be uncomfortable with after watching how they played that DT3 earlier in the pool. Much more of this is going to be on the aim control on a lot of these weirder cut streams, especially when you start getting into the doubles cuts in this section. 4-note cut streams are a little bit more doable for a lot of players than these doubles cut streams right here that can be very, very tricky, but both of them still holding on. A little bit of finger control right here at the end, and both still good on the full combo, about halfway in now. Going to be a short break here. They're both going to see that it is good for both of them still on that double FC now, halfway through. Let's see how this second half goes. It does get a little bit harder here in the second half, but not ridiculously so. And for a protected pick, Serbia Trucker is doing very, very well on Flying Tuna's pick in this third set.
Yeah, and notably, Serbia Trucker did pick this himself in his match yesterday, so clearly a map that he's more than comfortable with playing, and you can see that in his performance on it so far, up to 1,000 combo on both sides, and the accuracy actually does go back his way as well by the barest of margin. These sliders might affect it. I mean, look at the accuracy is less than 0.1% apart. And now we're going to come into the last 45 seconds, and just like that, it's going to be a break on one of those challenging little flow aim control streams for Serbia Trucker. And now Flying Tuna has the opportunity to build up a bit of a lead here into the ending. In some of the more challenging portions of this map, you get the really tough cut and flow patterns coming in more and more. Into the last 30 seconds we go. It's a 65k lead and growing for Flying Tuna on his pick. Another break from Serbia Trucker is going to help that out a little bit more for the Korean. And Tuna, again here on his own pick, going to develop a pretty decent lead on the first map of a set here. Much the same way he did in the first set. He's going to pick the Nomad 2. He's going to FC the Nomad 2. And he is going to take a 150k score lead into the second map of this third set. Well done to Tuna. Another FC on this map this weekend. These guys are making this map look way easier than it is. I think we've seen a couple of FCs and some other really good scores on it, and it is not nearly as simple as they're making it look, but that is a solid score from Flying Tuna for the 149k score lead in this third set.
Yeah, that's a very, very good score from Tuna. It's, funnily enough, not even the best FC that we have seen on this map this weekend. So some players are just extremely comfortable on this map. Obviously, Flying Tuna is one of them, right? Did have the #1 score on the map with Hidden Hard Rock, the only HDHR FC, as you said. So no surprise here. And we are just going to match Protect for Protect in this third set here. LM1 picked for Serbia Trucker 13. LM, of course, standing for Lazer mod. This weekend, that Lazer mod is Freeze Frame, where each individual combo chain is appearing all at once on the screen. Now, if you're not quite sure what I mean by that, you'll see what that means immediately as we get into it. But basically, each new combo color appears all at the same time like this. And each individual note has a different approach rate. You can see the first note in the combo chain has a much higher approach rate than the notes at the end of the combo chain, which can be very, very weird to play, especially on excessively long combo chains. I shudder to think what this would look like on some map that has like a random 75-note combo chain.
Rendezvous, mapped by Undead Capulet, 85 combo.
Yeah, exactly. There's a few other maps I know of like that, and I don't really know what I would expect them to look like, honestly. Unfortunately for Runny Sunny, early miss on his own protected pick. Another early miss on this Protect for Runny Sunny as well. So now finally matched by Flying Tuna, but here we go with a little bit of a combo lead at the start for Flying Tuna. Still the score lead on the side of Serbia Trucker due to the accuracy.
This one is an interesting pick. You know, as you said, matching Protect for Protect makes sense a little bit on paper if you think you can win this by 150k, but trying to win a map that Tuna has probably practiced enough to at least put up a decent score on by that margin is a tough ask. And if you look at that score lead, it's pretty minimal either direction. It's in fact in favor of Tuna by a small amount. It does flicker over, but it's going to need to be Serbia Trucker basically FCing the rest of the map and hoping for some help, because Tuna's holding matching combo with him, both of them on almost identical spots, and there's a break from Serbia Trucker, and I don't know that it's going to be possible now. Forget winning your Protect by 150k, he might just lose his Protect straight up here, and this was why this felt to me like a little bit of a risk, because certainly can expect Tuna to have practiced this and to know what he's getting himself into. He is that type of guy who would be prepared for anything in the pool, especially the oddball niche quirky pick like this one. And while the score gap is going to come back over and go to Serbia Trucker here near the ending, it's not going to be nearly enough. It's going to be a 15-20K win for Serbia Trucker on the point, but Flying Tuna going to take the set nonetheless, thanks to that 150K lead he got off of the Nomad 2, and holds on to 130K of that gap. 2-1 goes the set score. I don't want to say it's a waste of a protect, but it's kind of a waste of a protect. I think, again, what do you pick into Flying Tuna? It doesn't really matter because he's probably going to do well on it. There's another example of that happening.
Yeah, I will say Serbia Trucker had like 2.5% better accuracy, so I do kind of get the protect in that context. Unfortunately, the combo game just was not there. He found breaks pretty much throughout the entire map and was carried in terms of score by the accuracy. So on laser scoring, he does win the point. I think on score v2, Flying Tuna would have actually won that point just because of the extra combo that he held throughout that pick. But unfortunately, AC isn't all that important in this scoring mode that it will outshine combo even to that extent. It is going to give you a better score, but not by enough to make up that kind of difference. You needed both there. And now Flying Tuna just going into aim. This is 240 BPM no mod aim. This is a custom map as well for the first weekend of LGA 2025. Thanks to Lynx for this custom map of classic song Friedman by Nanahoshi Kangen Gakudan. Air 9.7, 240 BPM, pretty comfortable aim, a couple of 240 BPM bursts in this map, but again, as we saw on that DT3, about 240 BPM on that map as well. Both of these players are going to be more than comfortable on those bursts in this map as well. It's going to come down to the aim. Accuracy on this one should be pretty easy for both of these players as well. It's only OD9, which for a 7.7 star aim map is pretty low, all things considered. I think they're both going to be very comfortable on the AC on this map as well.
You just pointed that out. I'm actually a little surprised. I didn't realize the OD was that low. I kind of would have anticipated this to be like air OD 9.3, 9.5. I'm not sure entirely why the lower OD was chosen here, but as you said, not going to generally speaking matter too much on a map like this regardless of OD setting. And to me, you know, this kind of reminds me, we were talking before the match about what kind of player Serbia Trucker is, and this reminds me a little bit of a return to those German teams of, you know, the earlier 2020s, 3 or 4 years ago, when it just felt like they would pick Nomad 1, Hard Rock 1, DT1, and beat you into the ground with them. So reject modernity, return to tradition here for the German player selection. Go just big aim Nomad 1. Now, there is one part of the map that feels like it could be a little bit of a question mark, which is the kind of awkward, you know, finger control streamy section in the guitar solo about 2/3 of the way through, 3/4 of the way through. That can sometimes trip players up a little bit because it's a little bit different, a little more awkward than a lot of the rest of the map, which is mostly comfortable aim. But unfortunately, it's going to be Tuna taking the advantage here. Well, unfortunately for Serbia Trucker, it's going to be Tuna taking the advantage here. One early miss for Serbia Trucker. Let's see how long Tuna can hold on. He's up to about 1,000 combo here, so doing quite well for himself. The accuracy staying quite high for both players as anticipated. But Tuna going to build himself up a bit of a lead here. It's around 60,000 points already. Halfway through a 4-minute long map, 60,000 feels pretty big considering the combo lead is 900. So it's going to be some work for Serbia Trucker to try to bring this one back. He's going to need some help from Tuna wherever he might get it. But you can't forget that Tuna is an incredibly solid, consistent aim player in his own right, and expecting him to miss is not going to be your best proposition in most cases.
Yeah, and I would also like to point out on the last map, right, Serbia Trucker was kind of saved by the accuracy. That's why he got that higher score than Flying Tuna. Flying Tuna had the combo game, Serbia Trucker had the AC game. This time around, he doesn't even have that because Flying Tuna has 99.88% accuracy, which I think is 2 times 100. There's finally a break for Flying Tuna, but it's going to be matched by Serbia Trucker right afterwards, and that, I think, is the nail in the coffin on this map. Without combo, without accuracy to your name, there's no way this score lead is coming back over at the end of this map. Yeah, it might go down a little bit as Flying Tuna's AC comes down alongside yours, but it's just not going to matter, and that score lead is still going to be in Flying Tuna's favor, with him having the next pick, with him being up 2-1 in the set score. So, again, for anyone just joining us, 2 maps at a time constitutes a set. If you have the better cumulative score across 2 maps, you win the set. 3 sets to win the match. Flying Tuna right now already up 2 sets. This is the first pick for Serbia Trucker in set number 4. And he needs to win this set to stay alive, not just in this match, but in this tournament. We are still single elimination in the round of 16 here this weekend. So having lost this map right by about 100k, Serbia Trucker needs to break point Flying Tuna by over 100,000 points on whatever his next pick is, just to stay alive in the match and in the tournament.
And that's going to be a tall order indeed. That is a solid performance from really both of these guys. 800k for Tuna, 719k for Serbia Trucker. But yeah, 90,000 points is going to be a mountain to climb on a Flying Tuna pick if you're Serbia Trucker. So back up against the wall here for him on this next pick. We are, fortunately perhaps for Serbia Trucker, we are sort of whittling away at the pool. The most obvious picks for Tuna are gone, right? The Nomad 2, Nomad 3, Nomad 4, Hidden 3, all gone. The Hard Rock pool gone, which, he probably wouldn't have picked from necessarily here, in all likelihood anyway. But at this juncture, you've got Hidden 1, DT1, DT2. We talked yesterday about, you don't actually have choices of picks once you get to a 5th set. It's just the order of the remaining 3 maps is the only thing that matters. But here we do still have the choice of one of those 3 maps. Flying Tuna just won a name map. Does have that DT1 if he wants to go that way. Alternatively, the Hidden 1, as you would anticipate, he did pick the Hidden 3, won it by a pretty sizable margin. Also, Serbia Trucker banning the Hidden 2 indicates to me that Tuna is going to be the stronger Hidden player, so I would expect maybe the Hidden 1 here. But we'll find out. I think it's one of those 2, though. It's the Hidden 1 or the DT1. I don't think this is the DT2. Other than that, Tuna needs to not lose this by 90,000 points, right? So he's kind of chilling to some degree. Obviously, we'll want to win it outright regardless, but it's not like fear in this pick.
Yeah, and there's the Hidden 1. I do think this is the best map remaining in the pool for Flying Tuna, so agree this is a good pick. On the off chance that Serbia Trucker does win this by 90k or more, and we go to set 5, I think Tuna is in as bad of a spot as he could be for set 5, with the 2 remaining maps being DT1, DT2, and then of course the OS original. I think he will win the OS original, but it's questionable if that generates enough score, given that Runny Sunny is going to be comfortable on both the DT1 and DT2 if we go to set 5. So if we get there, I think Tuna's spot is about as bad as it could be. Not that that's particularly bad. He's still going to be good on those maps as well. But I think Serbia Trucker will be very comfortable on those 2 remaining maps in the pool for that set 5. That said, he has to actually win this map by over 90k in order to get to that set 5. So we'll see if that does become our reality. Right now, I think it's very likely that Tuna wins this map and wins the set to boot and closes this one out 3-1. But on paper is just on paper. You never know what happens on the actual map. Just like as Serbia Trucker said, right? Full combo the Nomad 1 on sight read, but if you get nervous, you start to misread a lot in tournament and can very much impact the score. So on paper, a good pick, but in reality, Flying Tuna, just that guy.
Yeah, you can't discount the aura of the player on the other side in some of these situations. We've talked in the past, like the OSU World Cups, right, about the USA debuff. When teams are playing against them, often perform worse. Similar sort of thing can happen in 1v1s. If you've got Flying Tuna, if you've got Malashevsky, if you've got Emrek on the other side, your scores are probably just going to be a little bit lower because you're like, oh crap, I'm playing against one of the best 1v1 tournament players in the world. And so, yeah, that little bit of extra nerves can come in and play a little bit of a factor. And you can see a couple early misses here from Serbia Trucker. This is not a particularly long map, just a little over 3 minutes, and we're already nearing the halfway mark there. And it is already Tuna out to a 65 to 70k score lead. Has continued to hold through a couple of misses from his opponent. And well, you're now at a point where you've got to build up almost 200k score lead in the remaining portion of the map. And I don't think that's too likely to happen, unfortunately, to say.
No, we're over halfway through, right? You'd have to claw back as you said, 200k basically for this to go your way as Serbia Trucker, and Flying Tuna is still full comboing. This is why Flying Tuna is so well renowned, right? Every single map in the pool he was good on. Like, there was not a single map that he was bad on in this pool. Serbia Trucker, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, won one map? Might have been two. But I remember the Hard Rock 3 in particular being the winning map for him and being able to take that set by that point. But everything else, man, Flying Tuna has just been on top of it. And even when there were good scores for Serbia Trucker, the scores for Flying Tuna were just better. He does finally find the miss, right? Will not clutch out the full combo, but it is going to be a win for Flying Tuna on this map. It is just going to add to that score lead that he already has here. And that is going to be the match. Yeah, wins for Serbia Trucker on the Hard Rock 3 and the Lazer mod pick as well, flat by second. But everything else, Flying Tuna with the advantage. And unfortunately for Serbia Trucker, even though he won that Lazer mod pick, it was not enough to win the set. And so Flying Tuna going to be winning this match 3-1 in the set score. And I believe 6-2 in the map score. Solid best of 11 win for Flying Tuna in this one.
Yeah, very much so. Tuna just looking strong, as you said, a player of some renown who is just good at pretty much anything you could throw his way. The only concern ever being that super, super high-end speed, and even then only loses it to a couple of people. Other than that, you put a map in front of Flying Tuna, and he's going to put up a good score on it, virtually no matter what. If you look at his scores throughout this one, just all super competitive. Worst score, the Lazer mod, but nobody's putting up super great scores on that anyway. Other than that, you got a lot of high 700s, 800k plus. So, well done to Tuna. He's going to move onward into the quarterfinals next week. I believe he will await the winner of Secret Box versus Emil Bus ? So it's Secret Box. So it's going to be Tuna versus Secret Box as the quarterfinal matchup for him next week. And as you mentioned, it will be Serbia Trucker being eliminated, as we are still in the single elim portion of the tournament. So sad to see him go, but did manage to put up a set win against Tuna, which is not something that every player in the game can lay claim to. So well done there on managing to at least take 1 point in this match. And for Tuna, it's the expected result, and onward he'll go, trying to defend his crown in LGA this year.
Indeed, onwards and upwards for Flying Tuna. That'll be the last we see of Serbia Trucker 13. And now we actually have one other match coming up here in about 22 minutes at 15 UTC. That's going to be Namoe versus Taquito. Namoe, the artist formerly known as Arj from San Marino, the one tournament player from San Marino. If that flag looks familiar, but the name doesn't, that'll be why. That match coming up in about 22 minutes. We'll see who comes out on top on that match. That should be a pretty good match, I think, with Arj actually being the higher-seeded player out of qualifiers compared to Taquito. But Taquito, I think in a lot of people's minds, probably the favorite coming into this match. So we'll just have to see how that one plays out. As we saw on the B stream, Secret Box beating out Emilbus 3-0, and also unbroadcasted, unfortunately, we only have 2 streams, Emrek versus Alfew, Emrek 3-0ing Alfew in that set. So good job to both a Secret Box and Emrek in advancing through into the quarterfinals. And now, waiting on that next match in about 20 minutes. Thank you all for watching. Congratulations once again to Flying Tuna. Commiserations to Serbia Trucker 13. Thank you to Aaron for casting with me, and we'll see you all back here in about 20 minutes for Namoe versus Taquito.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Lazer Grand Arena 2025, and we are on with some more round of 16 action. Plenty happening this afternoon, this evening, this morning, whatever time zone it is. Plenty more happening. Next game is going to be, well, the man formerly known as Arj from San Marino taking on Taquito, one of the mainstays of the USA. I'm Doomsday, back on again, and casting alongside me is the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, Fiery Rage. Welcome back.
Good morning, everybody. This should be an interesting matchup. Seed number 8 versus seed number 9. Arj winning on a tiebreaker set against Juan Dario. Meanwhile, Taquito not really having any issues with his opponent, Sigi. So going into this, one of these players is actually kind of crazy to say this. One of these players is going to be going home, rather not going to the quarterfinals weekend. No losers bracket. So this is do or die for both of these players.
Yeah, the brutal aspect of this format being the first couple of rounds being single elimination. Seeing some big names going down in brutal fashion. But certainly it should be a tough tussle on this level of map pool between these two players. You can't see there being too much in it. A lot of their skill sets mesh well as well. So there are going to be a lot of very competitive maps here on specific maps, and I can't wait to see it.
That should be very interesting. Hopefully the players should be getting into the lobby relatively soon, I would hope. So should be able to... Oh, well, we can also just go over this. For those unaware, Lazer Grand Arena uses a bit of a funny match format. You're probably not familiar with it. First things first, players from either side or have a first wave of bans, low seed bans first, high seed bans second, and it's followed up by a wave of protects. This one is fairly interesting since if you protect something, the player that protected it is the only person that can pick it. So it could also act as a type of third ban if you're confident that you will not go to a fifth set where you'll be forced to pick into it. Which is... It allows for a lot more strategy, and we've seen a couple players take advantage of that throughout the weekend. After that is another second wave of bans. Then we get into picks, where players will alternate between picks. There is sets, rather, instead of just normal picks that you would win. So 2 picks per set, and the cumulative score of those 2 picks will determine the winner of that set. First to 3 set wins the entire match. And if we have a 5th set, we get to play a best of 3 with 2 picks, and then the also original for this weekend, the Glaciation by Zevin.
It's quite an experimental format. Lazer Grand Arena is definitely a testbed for some spicy ideas and some different things. It's awesome to see how it all plays out. And honestly, certainly compared to the last format, I think this one has been much more, I guess, balanced. Last LGA, if you were a speed player, you could make that work so much. But the sets format kind of plays... It lets you sort of counter that a little bit through some either interesting picking or, you know, some interesting throwing of picks just to get rid of some maps in a pool. If someone beats you so hard on a speed map and there's another one left, there's the option of picking that to take it out of the pool for like an extra for the next set. There's a lot of cool mind games. We've seen some interesting strats come out so far.
We've got an immediate start to the phase already. Both of these players know exactly what they want to protect and ban, apparently. First ban's coming out, Arj banning out Lazer Mod, Taquito banning out Hard Rock 2. I think pretty expected bans from both the players. Hidden 2 protect from Taquito, also very expected. Arj protecting Hard Rock 1. See what they opt to ban for their second ban. I'm not too sure if Taquito would want to go for a Hard Rock 3 ban, actually. I think that might be on the table.
Could be. I certainly think that the Hard Rock pull is something Arj is going to make good use of. And Divine Ordeal is such a long, tough pick that it could really go either way. It is going to be the Hard Rock 3. You called it.
And the hidden 1 from Arj, so both players banning out, well, in Arj's case, banning out Taquito's strength, and in Taquito's case, banning out basically his weakness entirely. Only 1 Hard Rock remaining. But the entirety of the DT pool is open, and Arj is going to be opening with that double time 3 Pupa.
Straight into some of that tapping. The more stamina-heavy pick in Pupa. It's not full DT, don't worry. It's not quite 300 BPM stamina, but certainly very stamina-heavy. It's 240-something BPM. Long Cherry Blossom streams.
Yeah, 1.2x speed, so 242 BPM. And it is the full map. One of the shortest maps in the pool, actually, after double time is applied. Just about, I believe, under a minute 30 seconds, actually. So this will be a very quick pick. We'll see how it goes for either of these players.
Double time fight is a curious one in this one. Both players are very strong on speed maps in tournament, or certainly stamina maps. Taquito can definitely combo a game tapping maps very well. But the accuracy from Arj dropping right down. He hasn't missed, but he's on a solid 86% right now.
Yeah, that's not what you want to have starting out. The first streams of the map, Arj just, I think, understreaming on them. Not really having a fun time at all there, and that is going to be the sole contributor to this 100k score deficit. Both players holding on to their FC.
Just the one long stream, just got the timing all wrong and couldn't recover it. Not what you want to give to Taquito here, but Taquito will not care. It's a very strong advantage over 100k. And get the ending and bank it. As Arj is recovering nicely after that blunder.
Yeah, but we're almost already done with the map, and there goes Arj, and there goes his chance of winning this map. Now it's just whether or not Taquito can push this lead even further in the opposite direction. He is going to miss. Arj trades it, though, and it looks like this is going to roughly stay at a 200k lead, with Arj dropping massively at the end to push it even further to a 240k lead by the end.
Massive points stolen away there. One of the first DT picks goes the way of the American player. Arj, unfortunately, just not having the player this time, and that one long stream was unfortunate. Getting the timing wrong and dropping a lot of AC. But the miss did seal it. Taquito now with his own pick and the entire pool to peruse. Can look to take first blood here.
He does have his protect, but with a score deficit that lopsided, I don't think he's going to want to go into the hidden pool at all for right now. I think he's probably going to be sticking mostly with the no mod pool. Maybe you might want to get another speed map out of the way. DT2 would not be too surprising to see.
Could do. Get another contested pick out the way and another tapping map that I'm sure Arj might be looking at as a nice foray in like the next rounds. Certainly with that buffer, he can afford to take another competitive map out of the pool here. I think going into his protect here to bank it is a bit possibly heavy-handed. Take something else. All you need to do is not lose too hard, really. He's thinking about it, though.
He's going to opt to go for no mod 4, which is fair enough. I think this was another one of the toss-up-y maps between these two players, both very good at this tech skill set. This is a very slider tech intensive map, which Taquito has definitely made a name for himself on these types of maps, especially with the hidden mod.
He's in some very nice ACK plays on this, even with its slider-heavy nature. We've seen some very nice ACK plays, but Taquito is a premier player on this sort of style, as you said. I imagine he'd prefer it with hidden, but he ain't gonna mother no mod one jot. Arj, though, can definitely do well on this, but he's gonna be hoping for a bit of a blunder to make up that sort of advantage. Let's see, though. Well, sliders are one of the big changes that Lazer has over stable, especially on the leniency on bus sliders. They are much more forgiving and definitely much less breakable if you hit them like late. This map doesn't have too many bus sliders though, so that doesn't come into the fore. But one thing that does come into the fore are slider ends not dropping as much ACK as they would on stable. They're not quite full 100s, I believe. But they still drop ACK, and they're still quite important to hold on to for ACK and combo.
Yeah, it's slightly under a full 100, so doesn't impact your score as much. It still obviously will, but it's a bit more forgiving in that regard. Did see a couple of early drops from Arj in that beginning section, which does not really bode well for the rest of the map. Taquito still holding on to his FC.
So far, so good here for Taquito. Getting into the first real nasty part of this now. See how they hold on to it. Both players with solid combo.
None of them really having any issues with this section. Not even that many ACK drops from either of these players, really. A couple slider end drops from Arj, but that's about all that's really happening right now.
Yeah, these aim control with the snappy 1-4 kind of stacks in there can trip you up, but nothing happening here. Both players combo that entire section. As you said, barely dropping anything. Just that early miss separating the two. But really, Arj did not need to see this before we pick up the map. It's already going to be about 100k away from him on this map alone.
There's not really anything to miss on in this slow part, which is going to allow Taquito to build this lead to 600k, and I think at that point it's already pretty much over, since Arj maxes out at around 800k here with his misses early. That's not going to be enough to make up a 250k deficit. Very solid pick from Taquito.
A great play from both of them, though, has to be said. This section, particularly nasty on that snappy aim you have to deal with. But these two not phased by it at all. This is looking like two very good scores for this. But Taquito, still holding 99% full combo, is a cut above everyone else we've seen, really.
Yeah, and Arj missing on the cut stream is just going to seal the deal. Don't think it really would have made any much of a difference, even if he didn't miss on that, as Taquito still holding on to the FC with much higher accuracy, looking to close it out.
He just needs to finish this one off, and he's got an excellent play on his hands. Solid ACK from Arj, really. 96% is decent for this, but 98.6 from Taquito is different gravy. Great play from Taquito, and he takes the first point.
FC.
Yeah. It's nutty behavior here from Taquito. It's crazy. And you are looking a lot tighter on the taps from Arj. Not really reflected in the ACK in the end, nope. So that's first set to Taquito. Next set now will be kicked off by Taquito, and it's a no mod 3. So we're not going to be going too far from the aim control side of things. Still sticking to no mod. It worked well then. Why not keep it going?
Another toss-up-y pick, I think, between both these players, but if no mod 4 went that much in favor of Taquito, why not opt to go for this? It's a very funky song in the every sense of the word, pretty much. A lot of weird snaps on this. Relatively short too, much like DT3, sub 2 minutes on this. It's a bit of a challenge to act.
It's got like a very disorienting tempo to it. It is like 4/4, but it's such an odd rhythm. It almost feels like it's like a different time signature at times. With all that wacky aim business you have to deal with. Can be disconcerting.
Early act drops from Taquito will give Arj the lead for now. Both these players look pretty confident on this. Not really any issues to speak of.
It really just going to come down to a few act drops at the moment from Taquito. But the combo holding strong for both. Arj's act is impeccable.
Just doing a lot to keep this lead in his favor. 20k just from that accuracy alone. See if he can keep holding on to that. We're approaching about 30 seconds remaining in the map. Neither of these players want to miss on this map, though. They know just how much this point is going to matter to either of these players.
Yeah, with a midpoint here, Taquito chasing a match point possibly. But neither player is budging an inch. It's still a double FC. Taquito has nearly 99% and is still behind. Arj with 99.5. Disgusting behavior from both players on this map. It's going to be a double FC. They're just going to double FC it. That's kind of crazy. Arj takes 20k of advantage, though, out of that. I bet he wished he had more, though. But Taquito... Wow.
Imagine getting a 99.6% FC and not even getting that much of a lead off of it. Granted, to be fair, the silver lining, that was not his pick. So he does get a lead on something that was not his pick, and I think that's, at the very least, something that he's going to be happy about. But still, as definitely something to see. Double FC on a pool this hard is not something you see every day, we'll put it that way. Arj going to be sticking with the double time pool, though. DT1 next pick. No speed on this, so not going to be similar to Pupa, where it was a lot more speed-oriented. This is a lot more aim-oriented, with a couple of weird rhythms here and there.
Another song that's kind of tricky on its tempo, although it's much more straightforward in terms of, I suppose, raw rhythms. It is more about that aim, but it's kind of awkward aim. There are some weird rhythms, though, in the middle of this map where you need to be mindful not to over-tap or under-tap.
A funky map as well. Map goes from left to right to left. You'll be seeing that throughout the entire map. There's a very consistent theme in that regard. Not quite DT on this as well. 1.35 times the speed, so not 1.5. Still going to be AR 10.3, even with that change, though.
I guess after that last masterclass on Nomad 3, it is going to be a raw DT1 head-to-head to decide this set. The early miss means that Arj actually has a decent advantage now right out the gate.
That was a very unlucky miss from Taquito, just over-aiming, I think, on one of the slider heads. That was, like, not spaced at all, but going to be missing as well on one of the more difficult sections. So Arj now has the opportunity to build a considerable lead in the early stages of this map here.
That's unfortunate, man. The accuracy dropping a bit as well. Another miss there from Taquito. Something is not quite aligned, or something's up with his DT aim, because he's found a few misses and act drops. Arj dropped a bunch of act there, so he's no longer on extremely high act, but it's still very good on the 98. This map's quite high OD. But the combo is really the big difference maker.
Still a lot of map to go, though. We're not even halfway done. So anything can still happen. It's only a 60k point deficit. Everything remains the same. So still well within the range. Taquito coming back, just takes a couple of unlucky misses from Arj to completely shift this over. We're going to be getting into one of the harder sections of the map, so... Oh, that is the wrong person you want to have miss.
It just hasn't clicked on this map for Taquito, unfortunately. Well, halfway through, it's another miss and a couple misses now. Arj still FCing. Now he's looking real peachy.
Yeah, getting through that section, not really any issue for him whatsoever. Drops a bit of the accuracy, which does give Taquito the AC lead, but it's not going to be anything crazy, and as long as he holds on to the combo, not anymore, but he still has built himself up a 100k point lead. Still within the range of potential comeback, but Taquito is going to need to, I think, FC the rest of the map in order for this to shift over and also get above that 20k point lead that Arj built off of Taquito's own pick.
Well, every great journey starts with a single step, and Taquito is making that. But you think he definitely needs more. This part's quite hard. Let's see if he hit this one. Both players hit that. That one's cut out a lot of people. It is followed up, though, from Arj. So now it's quite a decent combo for Taquito. The door is opening, and it's
close. Close.
Slammed in his face. This one's over. There was a window of opportunity there, a very slim one, but not to be. Arj did the dirty work in the first half, and it's worked out well. A bunch of misses now, though, from Arj, but it doesn't matter at this point.
Both players not having a fun time with the hardest part of the map, so it's just going to be misses from either side, and for all intents and purposes, it's going to keep the score lead virtually identical, roughly just under 100k. Might go to 100k now with that miss from Taquito, with the couple misses from Taquito, actually, but won't make a huge difference at the end of the day. Still in favor of Arj. That's going to be a set taken back immediately from Taquito.
With 100k of advantage. A decent margin on that one, but the basis of work was set up with that extremely good play on No Mod 3 to make that fairly comfy. Who knows how close that would have been had he not done that. It might not have even been enough. But Arj with a very well played set there, making it 1-1.
Has to follow up with his next pick for the third set. Just immediately getting into it, No Mod 2, sticking with tapping, as we saw in DT3. Definitely something Arj is pretty known for, I would say, is his tapping prowess, especially on these No Mod 2s, so not too surprising to see him pick into this.
The tapping side is where he's been all match so far with his picks. This one definitely on the tech side of things, though. It's all about control, especially in the first half with some hard 1-4 aim patterns. Second half goes into more of a raw, streamy section, but it's always about that control on 190 BPM.
Yeah, cut streams galore on this map. It's not fun to play on stable, to say the least.
No, this map is absolute hell if you break unstable. The note lock is crazy. Definitely a map where the changes to note lock benefit when you break. You gotta play it the same way to hit it, obviously, but when you break, it's much more recoverable on Lazer.
We're seeing early breaks from both the players. Taquito having a bit of a better time, at least in terms of accuracy. Does miss early on, but getting to the first hard part here, we'll see if that changes at all.
The last thing you want to do is get completely discombobulated and miss a whole stream. Accuracy being very important. Arj missing a couple times, but holding decent AC. Taquito, though, with 99.3 and an FC. and the win in his sights on this one so far.
Well, not quite an FC. He did miss early on in the map, but it might as well be an FC, all things considered.
It will
He was about.
I was like, no, it never happened.
It was about like 100. It was like I think 100 combo in, so it wasn't anything crazy. It's still going to be 900k if he holds this combo for the rest of the map, which he is looking very comfortable. So I would not be too surprised to see that happen. Arch has recovered fairly nicely from the miss-aim, though. So for now, score lead will be not staying at all. Taquito missing on a kick slider.
Oh god, here come the streams. Arj now has an opportunity to claw this back. 80k, that's going to come in quick with how note-dense this section is.
That was possibly the worst place you could miss. Thankfully, his accuracy is doing a lot of heavy lifting to offset that miss, but it will be going in favor of Arj the longer he holds this combo, and he is looking to just absolutely ace this ending section. 20 seconds remaining. Might not shift over in time to him necessarily, but it will be still taking a huge deficit.
Never mind.
Missing at the very end, but 50k compared to the 100k it was prior, still fairly decent, but that was his own pick.
I mean, considering how the first half of that looked, I would take that. Taquito on the, I guess, the more aim control side in the first half looked far superior, but that unfortunate break just kind of neutered his advantage here. But still taking 50k, not too bad. But Taquito's going to be walking on glass with Arj's pick coming up next.
The 2 pick coming from Taquito is kind of interesting. I thought he might want to go into at least one of the hidden maps. Probably not hidden 2 quite yet, but I think hidden 3 would have been a decent pick. But stay with speed. After all, you did win Pupa by a pretty considerable margin, so this is in kind of the same vein. A lot more burst heavy rather than stamina intensive, but
it's all that was raw, I guess, just speed cap. This map's well over 280 BPM. Might be even 290. I think it's 280 something.
287, so just under 290. But yeah, this is a true double time pick. 1.5 speed, no rate changes here.
Yeah, the double time you all know and love. Only 8 DT, so it's only 9.6. Fairly standard timing window. Still tight, but fairly normal. A couple of breaks there on the aim from Arj.
The speed player special, breaking on aim.
Mm-hmm. Curious to see how the accuracy looks, and at the moment, Taquito's accuracy on the bursts looking very good, no problems, keeping up with the speed. Arj doing decently, but definitely dropping many more 100s. And on the aim side, he looks a little bit shaky. This is looking like a really good pick, at least in the early stages of this. Plenty more to go.
Just a lot of unfortunate misses from Arj, not looking really comfortable on this AR 10.3 double time. Stark contrast to the DT1, but this is a lot more speed heavy, and Taquito's just kind of going God mode right now. We haven't gotten into the super speed intensive section quite yet. We'll be getting into that after this little slow part here.
Longer bursts coming in just a moment, I believe. We'll see how Taquito manages those, because at the moment, nothing else on this speed pick is phasing him. And with 50k advantage in the board as well, really, there's not that much pressure on him.
Aces that long burst section, no problem. Even Arj as well, holding on to that, just dropping the accuracy. I think this is not quite all but said and done, as Taquito does find a miss on one of those linear patterns there, but it's going to require a massive effort from Arj in order to overcome this deficit, especially with his accuracy. Basically, needs to FC the rest of the map and that's not going to be happening, unfortunately.
No, yeah, I think the chances of that were slight. I think the accuracy just wasn't there to make it happen, and the break's going to seal the deal. Working extremely well on the tapping. Taquito's making great use of these tapping maps. And looking like an excellent pick, because Arj definitely not looking like he's super comfy on this, whereas Taquito has looked pretty comfy on it the entire time. That accuracy tells the story. Taquito's speed, man. We always talk about hidden, but this guy is a speed demon when it comes to tournaments.
After being thrust into the limelight and needing to be a speed player for the USA roster after every other speed player decided to AFK. Goodbye, Gaze McKee. God bless. Very solid set point for Taquito, though. He's going to be taken up 2-1 now. Is Arj to follow up, hopefully, with another set of his own. Taquito has the first pick on this one, though. And he just immediately shotgunned it. Hidden 3.
Hidden 3. It's breaking out the Will Stetson, the flow aim. Hidden flow aim. Always a bit of a mean style on this mod. High spacing. Well, I say low BPM, it's about 170 odd, but high spacing on lowish BPM. Very short map though, it's like 2 minutes, but it's very explosive. Taquito banking on his favoured portal call to try and build himself a nice advantage on match point. Notably though, saving his protect. Hasn't used it yet.
Well, if he's going to be using it, it'll come at the last set, where he's going to have to pick it. But for right now, Hidden 3 is his pick. A very interesting map, kind of like an alt-oriented tech map, I guess is the best way to describe this. It's very unique. Mash of 2 different mapping styles, Flake and Moth, which are somewhat similar, but take a wide variety of liberties in different terms of emphasis. You're kind of seeing that in droves. Taquito having absolutely no problem. Anyway, Arj having not that good of a time in the accuracy department, as well as the combo department, which is not going to make that miss from Taquito matter that much.
Yeah, big AC deficit, doing a lot of work here for the American player. Combo looking pretty much dead even, but the accuracy is far superior here for Taquito. Approaching halfway here. With a bit of combo, Arj really needs to hold this to try and keep his head above water.
This is Taquito's pick, so as long as he can make this score lead not balloon out of control. Getting into one of the harder parts of the map here. This little flow aim section that's going to be coming up is very trippy for a lot of players. We've seen a lot of people miss on it. And Arj is missing prior to it, but here we go. No one actually having any issues with that.
The break on the sliders there for Arj. 130k and climbing here for Taquito. It's looking like he's going to be able to take a big advantage out of his own pick here. He's going to be leaving Arj with a lot of work to do.
Yeah, this deficit.
By the way, for Taquito on this.
Yeah, it's solid 99%. Gonna be a very good ACK play, which is gonna be helping this lead 240k, and if there is any opportunity for Arj to pick into his own Protect on Hard Rock 1, now is the time. This is when you want to use it. This is why you protected that map from being banned.
Yeah, with an advantage like that, he needs to be picking something strong. So, is it going to be the moment? Really? I don't know if you're going to put your trust in anything else. I mean, number 1 seems like a bit of a toss-up, making up 200k on that. Not sure about that. But Divine Ordeal is very hard. It's one of the hardest maps to FC, not just because it's so long, but because it's so varied. And Arj Hard Rock is definitely a good setup for a map like that, where you need to be so consistent on it.
It is, after all, a tiebreaker. It was a custom tiebreaker for Corsair's Open 2022. Custom song. Not licensed, unfortunately, but... see if Arj opts to go for a... I mean, surely he has to. I don't think there's really any other... I just don't think Nomad 1 would be a solid pick here. Makes way more sense to guarantee that you at the very least get this set.
Yeah, I reckon, like I said, a No Mod 1 angle here, high BPM aim style, just would suit Taquito very well, but that's where Arj is going. He's picking No Mod 1.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, really, Taquito's looked great on the speed side. The bursts are going to be fine for him. His aim is impeccable in terms of this. We've seen it many times. So, you imagine he'd be looking at least about, well, I'm not going to miss any numbers, but you'd expect a very good score from Taquito, or at least good enough. Which means Arj is going to have to high roll on this, I think. Curious choice, but let's see. Let's see.
I mean, in all fairness, both of these songs are long. You have a 5-minute tiebreaker pick in Hard Rock 1, and this is just under 5 minutes, 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So, just a bit of an interesting pick, since I believe both of these players would be more than comfortable at this sort of deal, but Arj trusting in his raw aim mechanics more than overall Hard Rock consistency for this. See how it plays out for him. No issues for either of these players in the opening stream section at the very least. Both players going to be missing on the 1/3, but it's not going to be the end of the world. I'm not really sure why Arj was cursor dancing for that. That's going to be giving Taquito the lead for now, but still plenty of map for the deficit to still be overcome here.
Yeah, I mean, that advantage is not exactly be growing very quickly. 20 combo ain't going to be growing that much. But Arj is absolutely hoping for some implosions on some of the aim patterns. We did see it on the DT1 where we had some issues with his aim. He's probably going to need something similar.
That's probably why he opted to pick this, honestly, is from that DT1. From the struggles that Taquito had on that, so we'll see if anything similar comes out as we get into more aim-intensive sections here. That's not what you want to be seeing, though.
Tripping up on the burst. Arj dropping his combo. Taquito still holding on with, I believe that's an FC so far.
Not quite an FC with the miss on, I believe, the 1/3, same pattern that Arj missed on, but...
Oh, yeah. Of course it did, yeah. Okay, so the reverse choke, but certainly 700 combo with that ack. He's holding all the aces at the moment. Arj holding 99, though, means that he's keeping a lot of that score on his side. Really needs a miss from Taquito. It's out of his hands. Another break from Arj is not what the doctor ordered.
Taquito's basically going to have to miss right now, and even then I'm not too sure if it's going to be enough just from this deficit. With Arj continuing to miss, I think this is kind of just over from the onset.
Chance the head-to-head on the no-mod aim, but it's not working out. Taquito looking much better on the aim side on this time around. Now he knows pretty much that he's safe at this point. He's got 300k advantage. He just needs to do well enough from this point. This solo is hard though. We'll see if he can get this.
With the misses from Arj, and yeah, I think he kind of knows at this point, at the very least, it is in fact over, and Taquito is going to be holding through the solo, which just adds further insult to injury. Not really much you can do about that.
And nothing dropped through that, or barely anything. I don't even know if he got a 100. He's got 99.7 on this. Taquito looking to end this one with a fireball, it seems like. He does get the miss, so it isn't going to be the full reverse choke, but it's still going to be at least an 800k, if not more than that.
And it wouldn't have mattered what Arch did at that point. You get an 800k. You're not going to be making up a 200k point deficit with that, no matter, even if you SS this map. And it's going to be a very solid showing from Taquito. Seed-wise, just barely an upset, but it will be him taking this match 3-1, progressing into the quarterfinals weekend.
It's a crazy matchup to get in round of 16 between two very well-seasoned tournament players. It's going to be the end of the road for Arj. He found himself on the wrong side of this one. Taquito into the quarterfinals. Very well played on that one. Well played to Arj, though, as well, who took an excellent set. An incredible, double FC on that No Mod 3. Really doing a lot of work there. That was a tough set to take, and he still won it, though. But unfortunately, the other sets go into Taquito on this one. Well played, Arj. Good games.
That's going to solidify yet another quarterfinalist, adding to the list of AKNZX, Flying Tuna, Secret Box, and MREX so far. All of it secured their place in the quarterfinals weekend. Now Taquito to join them. That is going to be it for now. Got a couple of matches still remaining. 3 matches in total. 2 starting at 17 UTC, roughly in an hour from now. That's going to be Malashevsky versus Decaden on the B stream, Oscar Live 2. And Riot versus Xylus, that is going to be very interesting on the A stream. 2 speed prodigies going at it head to head. That will be very fun to watch.
And rounded out at the end as well. 1800 UTC Welter going up against NU. And then after that will be the showcase for the maps to be played next week in LGA, including a brand new original at the end of that, of course, as well. So plenty more to chill out there. Get yourself a coffee or some food. You've got plenty of time. Join us in about an hour's time. That's it. On this stream will be Riot versus Xylus on OC Live 2 with Malashevsky against Decaden. And that's it for us. Cheers for the cast, Friary.
Always fun casting with you, Doomsday. I'll see you guys next time.